Hey, what's happening, family? It's your man Mark Black. Happy Hump Day to all my ADOS people and our allies out there. Damn, would you believe that just before I went live just now, I had a little bit of the nerves. I've been doing this now for about 5 years, man, and I can't believe I had some nerves. And the reason why is, family, is because this topic that I'm gonna discuss today, I really want to do it some justice because it's, in my opinion, long past time that we put this baby to bed, right? That we end all the mess around this particular subject. And so I made sure to bring the receipts. All right. But I need for you all to pay attention today. Grab your pen and paper, grab something to drink. I'm not going to talk long, but I'm going to talk strong. Okay. Now, before I get started, family, just a couple of quick things. Make sure you share this on your social media platforms, all right? And make sure you hit the thumbs, whether it's the like or the hater button. I don't care. Let YouTube know that this is content that you want to see, or if you want to get rid of me forever, make sure you hit the hater button, right? Also, remember, links in the description of every video below. There's links there to purchase merchandise to help support my work. There's links to reports and resources there. There's also links to books that'll help you get up on some of the information that we need, the data we need for this advocacy, right? So make sure you go ahead and you check those links out because it's definitely appreciated. One more thing. Because this broadcast today is going to be relatively in depth, I am going to follow the chat, right? But if I don't greet you like I normally do on the way in or respond to every question, don't get mad. I'm going to give everybody a chance to call in, right? I'll put up the call in number, right? So if you have something you want to say on the topic, or you have something you want to mention to me specifically, don't expect me to address it in the chat today, right? Make sure you call in, right? Or if I can get to it, I will get to it. All right. So without further ado, family, let's get into it. Today, the discussion is going to be addressing these white supremacy denialists, right? These deniers, right? I don't even know if denialist is a word, but I made it up and I don't give a damn. Because to be quite honest with you, family, I find myself in a strange position in this particular topic. On one hand, I get that people think this way. On another hand, it seems so just patently irrational, nonsensical to me that I cannot wrap my head around it, right? And unfortunately, very many of us who are involved in this advocacy have to deal with people, ADOS people, who have the nerve to come to us and try to tell us that white supremacy is just not an issue.
Get M.
I sure will, Miss Denny, and thank you for the love, sister. We appreciate it. By the way, family, if you wanna support your interests, again, links in the description. They'll also pop up periodically during the chat. I'm not a beggar. You contribute as you able. I know my audience, right? We ain't rich, but if you got the spare coins and you like to share a few with your brother, it's definitely appreciated. These individuals, these white supremacy deniers, usually will come to us with variations on the same theme. They will either come out and directly say, there ain't no such thing as white supremacy. Black folk is where they are because niggas do X, Y, and Z. Now, if they're a little bit more moderate, what they will say is, yeah, white supremacy, it's an issue, but it's not that big a one, right? And we can actually, do more to combat white supremacy and things like that, right? You get me? Before I can jump into it, though, as I always do, because I can do this, shout out to Miss Denny. Shout out to Kirky. Oh boy, Peach in the house. Richard Byer, I see you. Welcome. Son of a Panther. Holla at you, fam. I'm ready to chop it up with you, too. Midtown. Love you, brother. Agent Smith's in the house. My man Double C's in the house. The cool man. Shout out to you. Brother Albert's in the house. Brother Brandon in the house. K-Mac in the house. And last but not least, Darker Visions. If you in the house, family, you know my rules. Pop in the chat. Let me shout you out. Let me show you love. Don't come knocking on my door and just walk on in. Let me know you're here. All right. So, family, these individuals think that they're saying something profound, right? They either believe that what they're saying is profound and that it's deep, that it's something nobody's ever thought of. $316 is in the house. 206 in the building. My neck of the woods. Represent. Right? They think they're saying something profound and deep that no black person ever thought of before. Or they're in some misguided way attempting to buttress their self-esteem and our collective esteem by denying the reality of white supremacy. But I promise you, family, that after today, after your man Mark Black gets done doing my work, that's a wrap. AL in the house. Shout out to you, brother. Black Dog, see you. I see you. Represent. Oh, you know I'm going to watch it tonight to hear what these punk ass Democrats got to say. By the way, shout out to Marianne Williamson. If she continues to be that pit bull she been being, I'm going to definitely be impressed. Now, Vernell's in the house, by the way. What's up, fam? Good to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. Happy Hump Day to you. Let's get into it. Very often during my broadcasts, family, you hear me talk about the acculturation of ADOS people, right? And to be fair, I assume that the people who watch me, Chainbreaker in the house, I see you, fam. Peace to you and welcome to the broadcast. Mr. Spacely, shout out to you too as well. I'll admit that I think that the people that watch me are people who are studious, people who are interested in data and information. So I never really talk about exactly what acculturation is. ACCULTUREATION. Acculturation. Spook, fam, good to see you. I never talk about what acculturation is. But when we have discussions like the one we have today, I have to break down what acculturation is. Because believe it or not, acculturation, Tashia, I see you, peace, and welcome to the broadcast. There's actually two methods of instilling culture in human beings. But those two methods depend on, one, the culture, and two, where your position is relative to that culture at the moment of your birth. So without further ado, get your pens, get your libations, get your snacks, do you know the routine, right? Just like Sister Yvette says, get ready because we about to go in. Without further ado, let's talk about it. Here's an article that I brought up that discusses acculturation, but also inculturation. Don't worry, fam. Link is about to go into the chat right now if you want to follow along. Okay? Now, inculturation and acculturation are different things to do the same thing. They're different processes that only differ based on the individual person who is experiencing the process. Okay? Let me break it down for you, fam. To give you the TLDR version, inculturation is the process, the methods, the procedures, the system that initially instills or uploads culture into the human brain computer. Okay? Acculturation does the same thing. So why do we have two different words? Because inculturation is the process that's embarked upon when you are born into a culture that is your culture, right? So when you're born into a family that has imbibed your culture, then what they do in order to prepare you to be active, healthy, whole human being within their society is they instill their cultural practices, ideas, mores, folkways, all of that into you. However, acculturation is the process by which people who are not members of a given culture adopts that given culture. Are y'all with me so far, family? Hit some ones in the chat. Am I making this make sense? Am I speaking black to us today? Acculturation is the process of instilling a foreign culture into a human being. And inculturation is the process of instilling your culture into human beings. Are y'all with me? Let me see a one or something. There you go, Pop. Let me know if I'm making sense, family, because this is super important moving forward. And I don't have time to go back. Shout out to my beloved sister, Christine. Shout out to Chainbreaker and J. Mishael or Mikael. I see you, Mikael. Got you, right? Okay, so I am going to show you today the differences between acculturation and inculturation, okay? As you can see here from the bullet points, Acculturation is the process in which the people of one culture adopt the culture of another that is not originally their own. The original culture of the person changes due to the adoption of the culture of the others. The people who spend much of their time in the foreign are likely to adopt the foreign culture, and hence are the examples of the acculturation. And acculturation is often seen in language, style of clothing, food habits, etc. Okay, and enculturation is the process by which an individual learns about his or her own culture. Now, here's some breakdowns, right, between acculturation and enculturation, right? Now, I want to point out a couple of key things. Acculturation is the process by which one culture becomes subsumed by another one. Subsumed means eroded away, erased, overlaid, right? Diminished. Okay. Also, another thing to note is that acculturation either leads to a modification of the base culture or a mixture. So it's not usually that acculturation completely wipes away the base culture, right? Although that's the goal of acculturation, right? It's more that that culture then becomes a part. And the amount of the foreign culture that is expressed is usually due to the length of time that a person is exposed to the foreign culture, right? If there's survival necessity, right? Like when acculturation is essential for one's survival, so you learn it by necessity, right? For adaptation in a given environment and so on, all right? Acculturation is basically done with a motive, right? See, enculturation is just simply reinforcing what your people already value, what they already think or believe or hold sacred or find disgusting and so on and so forth, right? But acculturation has a motive behind it, right? Acculturation is to a certain extent a reaction, not a choice per se, but a reaction, right? Another thing that is a truth about acculturation. By the way, shout out Code Ref. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Acculturation is common amongst those who are far from their native land, among refugees, migrants, foreign, or was it that the CBC said about us, forced African migrants, enslaved, and so on and so forth, right? Now, here's another thing to note. Under acculturation, the dominant culture has the influence over the other one, right? So these are some key differences. Again, links in the chat. If you want to go and read the page for yourself, I'll paste it one more time for you so you can check out this resource for yourself. We do data over here. That's all. Okay? So why is it that it's important that we discuss acculturation? Because, family, in point of fact, we as ADOS people are literally the greatest evidence for the existence of white supremacy that there can be. You don't believe me? Don't worry, fam. We're going to get to it. We are going to get to it. These white supremacy deniers would like to have you and I believe, family, that we're making something up when we talk about white supremacy, right? When we as ADOS people, like, it's okay for whites to talk about white supremacy. You ever notice that, right? You ever notice that any of these black folk, these ADOS folk who try to tell us that white supremacy don't exist, you ever notice that when you when they say stuff like, if niggas would just pull up their pants, get an education, if they would just believe hard enough, if they would just manifest the universal abundance that's, extend throughout the quantum substream and subspace spectrum and all this other drivel shit, right? Whenever they say all this stuff, they blame us for our pathologies, our situations, and so on and so forth. Have you ever noticed that when you ask them, okay, well, what are white folks responsible for? They never have any blame for white folks. You ever notice that? You ever notice that you say, okay, fine. We're dysfunctional. We're fucked up. Whatever your choice of terminology is to describe us. Okay, fine. We'll give you that. So what are white people responsible for? What do they do?
I appreciate the work you do. Much love to my Atos family.
Much love to you too, Kanuria, and I appreciate your support and your eyeballs. When you ask them this, when you ask these brothers and sisters this, they never have anything they blame white folks for, but they want to say that white supremacy don't exist. They're walking evidence of it. The moment they open their friggin' mouths, they are expressing white supremacy. And I will prove it to you today. I will prove it to you today. The moment these fools open their mouths, they are announcing white supremacy. They are the heralds, if you will. They are the young or old, up and coming or dilapidated wannabe prophets of white supremacy doctrine all day long. Don't believe me? Let's get to it. Here's how we know. Here is a list of different values that are held as a part of American culture, right? Now, again, why is this important? Well, in point of fact, it's important because we as ADOS are American. Make no mistake about it, right? Like, yes, we're not fools. We understand that our ancestors were brought here from the shores of Africa, right? And they came from various ethnic groups and tribes. We're not idiots. But after 400 years, I think it is safe to say that if ADOS people are nothing, we are Americans. So it only makes sense to examine American culture. So let's take a look at American culture, some values that America holds dear, or at least that are expressed within the dominant American culture. All right. Now, the first one that we look at here is personal control over the environment, right? This is people saying, hey, I can go in and clear out all this land and I can build this and do that, right? So people are talking about controlling nature and the environment and so on and so forth. I make my own way, my own path, right? As a nation, we decide the future of the civilization, the free world, etc. Okay, that's American culture, demanding or believing that they have personal control over their environment. All right. Americans are also big on change, right? I mean, Barack Obama was able to get elected selling us hope and change, did he not? Now, mind you, every 4 years we select a new president, and strangely enough, America is still the same at the end of those 4 years as it was the 4 years prior. But we still believe as Americans in change, in mobility, right? That we can be, what is that song? Started from the bottom, now we here. Yeah, started from the bottom, now we here, right? That's American as apple pie. The idea that you can start in one place, but that does not define you, that you will ultimately be able to navigate or move to a different place, right? We travel from state to state. Americans move from locale to locale, right? I was born in the Midwest, but I live in the Pacific Northwest. You dig? Right? So change, mobility. In American culture, time is valuable, right? Americans are always about, look, get to the point. I need the TLDR version, right? Look, okay, I don't need all of the gab, yab. Just get it to me. Get it to me, right? We want everything fast, and we want it fast and right, which I think is a complete oxymoron because some things you can't do right and do fast, but I digress. But for us, time is one of the most paramount things of importance. We like efficiency. Americans don't do long, lingering, dinners and slow food movements, right? We want our shit fast and we want it now, right? Another value that American culture claims to espouse is the idea of egalitarianism. Well, why are you guys asking for reparations? We all have a shot at making it in this country. Look, my ancestors came here from Poland with next to nothing, and we're doing okay. What's wrong with you guys? Right? Egalitarianism, equality. In America, everybody is an American. So nobody is unique. Nobody is special. Nobody stands out. Right? This ties into the fifth value, which is individualism, independence, and privacy. As Americans want to believe they've done everything on their own, that everything that they have is by their own efforts and their own lights. And they don't want you telling them shit. Okay, first of all, Americans don't ever want you to be in their business, right? We all live in these little cracker box homes or cracker box apartments, and most of us barely even know who our neighbors are. I don't know that fool. That's American, right? They ain't the boss of me. I do what the hell I want. Look, fuck you. I got's mine. That's as American as apple pie and baseball. The sixth value, self-help, right? Americans, because of their individualism, they believe that begging or asking someone for assistance is anathema, right? If I don't make it on my own, then I don't deserve to make it. But because of that, people that appear to have made it on their own get an overwhelming, like a disproportionate amount of respect for having made it on their own, right? We look at folk like if you ADOS folk, we look at people like Nipsey, right? There was this big mourning for Nipsey when he died, right? Because Nipsey was seen as the brother who came up from nothing, got put on or got on, right? Because he didn't get put on. Nobody backed Nipsey, right? Nobody supported Nipsey, right? Nobody gave a damn about Nipsey, right? Nobody fed him. Nobody made sure he was able to get from point A to point B. Nobody ever gave him a place to sleep. No. Nipsey did it all on his own. And then after he did it all on his own, came back to the community to show all of us how we could do it all on our own. Right? Self-help. We respect Nipsey because Nipsey reflects the American ideal. Somebody who came from nothing and ended up with something. Right? The old Horatio Alger story. Start off in the gutter and make it to prosperity. In America, family, there are no poor people. If you are a believer in American culture, there are no poor people. There are only temporarily dispossessed billionaires. Let's look at number 7. One of the values in America is competition and free enterprise. Don't worry, free enterprise I'll address in a little bit more detail. But essentially in America, everything is dog eat dog. When you go to school and you have spelling bees, right? There can only be one winner. In every race, there can only be one number one. Everything in America is seen as competition. When you go to work, you're competing with your coworkers for advancement, for raises, so on and so forth. You feel me? Now, as far as free enterprise goes, I'm going to break this out into two parts because Americans in general believe in free trade and free enterprise. But now, business people, on the other hand, want socialism. They want to socialize the costs and privatize the gains. But it takes someone stepping outside of the culture to truly understand that, because all the rest of us just believe that, hey, it's all about competition. It's all about free enterprise and competition. That the more options we got, the better off everybody's doing. That's as American as the flag. That's as American as the motherfucking Star-Spangled Banner. Pardon my language. Let's continue. Americans are primarily oriented temporally toward the future. Americans always tend to remain optimistic, regardless of the data that suggests decline. We don't ever see it as something that could actually be permanent in nature. If the stock market crashes, Americans don't believe, oh, well, I guess that means that's it. The jig is up. Let's do something else. No. Every American believes, well, the stock market goes down, but it's going to go back up. America gets into a fight and gets its ass kicked. America doesn't say, hey, maybe we bit off more than we can chew. Let's call our troops home and call it a day. No, they throw more bodies and more bodies and more bodies at the problem until you have Vietnam. And the most important part of this particular idea is that Americans are always believing that things are going to get better and better and better. That, hey, we don't live. What is that shirt that we seen going around for a while that was aimed at us, at ADOS people? Dear America, we are not our grandparents. Sign these hands. That's as American as an attitude as you can possibly get. Damn what our ancestors went through. Damn what they had to face. We're willing to shit on the reputation of our ancestors to support our own self-worth, our own self-esteem. If that's not American, I don't know what is. Point 9, action and work orientation. Family, how many times have you heard, not from white folks, from other ADOS folk, well, if that nigga would just go get a job, as if doing some sort of work is going to solve all of your problems, right? Doesn't matter how little you get paid, how hard you're going to have to work, what type of work conditions or environment you're working in. A job solves everything. That nigga look good begging to me. All he had to do is just go get a job. He's sitting around here playing Xbox all day and scratching his nuts. He could be working. That's especially directed mostly toward ADOS men. But this is a truth, period, across the board for ADOS, period. Right? Especially sisters with some degree of education. Oh my God, don't let a sister get a damn degree. If she's out of work more than 2 weeks, she feels like it's a personal failure. She's on the verge of wanting to commit suicide. regardless of the data that states that even with a degree, she's not likely to get chosen over some Becky or Brad or some Maria or Juan or some old, one of them, not to diss nobody, but, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, etc., right? She's not likely to get selected over them. But again, because of the idea of individualism and that if she's going to make it, she has to do it by herself, and that her not working is a moral deficiency, she feels like she's on the verge of destroying herself. This whole, I'm a strong black woman and I can make it on my own and I don't need nobody. That's as American. Damn it, I'm running out of adjectives here. That's as American as the Appalachian fucking mountains. Informality, right? Americans believe that people who say, good morning, sir. Good afternoon, miss. May I get this door for you? Is there anything that I can do to assist you? They see that as servile, overly formal. It's hoity-toity, sedity, high-siding. Oh, look at this nigga here. He act like, we should call that fool Jeeves or something. Who you think you is, nigga? Right? Instead of formality indicating respect, reverence, preserving the dignity of the person standing next to you, why is it that you think that when you come in, I always refer to you all as family? And I type in the chat, esteemed brother and sister. Because I esteem you. That's why. It is not me being hoity-toity or acting like I'm too good or trying to act like I'm sedity or superior. No, it's showing you your respect. It is saying that I am a dignified person and I am asking you to provide dignity to me reciprocally. But the American attitude is that anybody who's a little too, formal, they stuff shirts, right? They got they top shirt buttoned up, and their back's a little too stiff, So if you sit with, like this here, right? You seem to be a little uptight. That's what we call them, uptight, bourgeois, sedity, right? Anybody can come to our community and get anything they want from us as long as they seem loose, relaxed, and appear to be honest and open. Because that goes into number 11. Directness, openness, and honesty, right? This is the idea that Americans don't need fluff, right? They like people who tell it like a TI is, who don't appear to be putting on any affectations. Because remember, affectations is a type of formality, right? It's a type of social distance. And Americans don't like social distance. So even when people are lying through their damn teeth at us, if they're informal about it, and if they appear to be open and honest and direct, we'll accept them. We'll accept anything they say, pretty much whole cloth. Number 12, practicality, efficiency. Practicality is usually the most important consideration when decisions are to be made. Pause. Out of all of these different values that are American values, this is the only one that I would argue that ADOS people have not adopted. Because remember, acculturation doesn't completely wipe away your culture. It just becomes the dominant culture between the multitude of cultures you may have been enculturated with, right? This isn't one. Now, we do focus on efficiency, but practicality is another concern, right? Because only now, with the advent of this transformational moment, our ADOS, at least politically, are becoming about practicality. I don't give a damn what you saying. I don't give a damn what you feel. Where's the data? Where's the facts? And what you gonna do for us and our people? We're becoming a very practical people. And damn it, it's a beautiful thing to see. But efficiency for us has never really been about practicality. Efficiency for us has been about endurance. I'm not a big fan of his, as you all well know. But Chris Rock told a joke once that I find still salient today. He said, when we black men argue, we're handicapped because we have a need for shit to make sense. We bring facts, information, data to it. This is a joke, sisters. Don't get in your fees, all right? He said, but for women, they don't give a damn about the facts or the data. They only in it for two things: distance and irritation. Now tell me there ain't no truth to that joke. Tell me there ain't no truth to that joke. Distance and irritation. How long can I talk before this motherfucker either runs off or loses their goddamn mind? Family, this is the Black Outcast channel. You know I'm going to keep it a buck. So for us, efficiency has never really been about practicality. Efficiency is about endurance, which makes sense as the American descendants of slaves, right? Because we didn't want to actually benefit massa on the plantation, but we had to look like we were doing it. So for us, the more it looks like we're enduring, the more efficient we're being, right? This is why when ADOS people come to me and tell me that they working real hard, I know that translates into it means that they've been doing shit for a long time. Right? You don't believe me? You think Mark Black is being funny? Like I'm making a ha-ha? What do you think in Cobra, the Urban League, the Nation of Islam, and all of these other moribund black organizations have been doing to us? We've been in this game for 30 and 40 and 50 and 90 years. You youngsters don't know how to go about getting these reparations from the white man. We've got this thing on lock. We know what we're talking about. You young ones need to just get in line and follow the way we've been doing it. Why y'all rocking the boat? Stop me if I'm bullshit. Stop me if I'm lying. It ain't about getting nothing done practically. It's about endurance. Black people want to honor that which endures rather than honor that which is practical, which actually works. Right? The worst thing you can say to some old head that's, salty haired, wearing a dashiki and in Cobra is like, well, what has that accomplished for us? Oh, you might as well have said something bad about their mama. Because the point is not to harbor on what is practical and what has been accomplished and what has been done. No, we've endured. We've been in this shit forever. The whole ethos behind poverty pimping, family, is not about curing your poverty. It's not about the restoration, the remediation, and the healing of ADOS people. It's about you continuing to endure with grace and silence while our gatekeepers continue the reign of butter biscuits. It is not about anything practical. As a matter of fact, family, the more theoretical, the more ivory tower, the more pie in the sky that a nigga is, the more happy they become. As long as that endures, right? Because if you notice, these pseudo intellects, these gatekeepers never have anything to say about ADOS people until they get their nigga wake up call. Well, you know, Missy Pelosi, I think if you're going to talk about diversity, you might want to have a few more black people that work up in here. And, yeah, and you might want to have a few more black people that you give resources and aid to. Shut up, Clyburn. Yes, sir. I tried, y'all. I've been in this game for 40 years. Y'all just follow behind old Jim here. I'll show you the way. Stop me if I'm lying. These niggas with tenure, these niggas with seniority, they the ones that will cut your throat the fastest. You would think that because they've been in the game for so long and saw that the way that they was doing hasn't necessarily worked, they would be inviting as much young blood to get involved in there and get into it as they possibly could so that we can shake up shit, that we can start sweeping pieces off the board, so we can start making moves. But no! Because efficiency for our people isn't about getting stuff done. It's about endurance. So no, I do not agree that we share the American ethos around practicality. For us, it has never been about practicality, because practicality would require that you actually show your work, that you actually deliver results, or move the hell out of the way for people who feel that they can get results. And that doesn't happen with ADOS folk. Let's continue. Last and not least, number 13, materialism / inquisitiveness, right? Of course, you do the work, you should get paid, right? And the more stuff you have, the more wealth you have, the harder it looks like you've worked. This idea right here alone, family, it's as American as George Washington's teeth. No, wait, those were African. It's as an American as the Declaration of Independence. No, that was holding a Sony. Well, you know what I'm trying to say, goddammit. That's the most American idea there is. That the people that have the most shit obviously worked the hardest for it. Back in the day, when many of us were religious, we would say, God has blessed them. We look at Reverend Do Wrong and Pastor Pork Chop, niggas like Creflo Dollar, and all the rest of these fools flying around in jets. And we don't say anything about the fact that they demand that, as broke as we are, minimum 10% of our income goes into their organization. No, he's enjoying God's favor. The prosperity that you're giving him is used against you as evidence of his faith. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? The resources stolen from our ancestors and from us through redlining, through debt peonage, through sharecropping, through all of the trappings of Jim Crow, through the continued denial of us of resources and capital, and so on and so forth. All of these rich white folks and their gatekeeper Negroes, and the few exceptional ones they give the decadent veil that they give resources to, the wealth that is stolen from us, that's given to them, is then used against us as evidence of their success. And that's as American as it gets, family. Now, I need for you to cool down with me for a moment. I'm even lowering my tone of voice, right? I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to relax, right? Right? Lower your heart rate. I was going in, right? So let's cool off for a second because I have something to say that is super important that you hear it and that you hear it with a clear mind, okay? So, woosah, relax. Everything I read off on that list of American values, pop a one in the chat if you agree that those are American values, right? That those are the values that are held by America. If you believe that I have proven my point that those are American values, pop a one in the chat. Follow me, please. Just do it, fam. If you think that I proved my point that those are the common American values, hit me with a one in the chat. I should be seeing ones all over the place unless you disagree. If you don't think those were American values, American culture. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm glad to see my people is with me. My people is alive. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Deep breaths. Continue to relax. Now, here's another question. Would you say that whites, the ethnic group of people made up of various European and other groups from around the world that are classified as whites, are the dominant society or the dominant members of American society? If you agree with that, let's see some ones. Let's see some ones. Would you say that the people who are classified as white are the predominant ethnic groups in America that hold these values? This chat should be blowing up with ones right now. I don't even see how this is a point of dispute. Okay. All right. Stay with me. Each one of these values, with the exception of practicality, ADOS folk hold, do we not? Was there a value that was listed in that list that ADOS people don't express? So if we know that these are American values, that the dominant ethnic group in America is white or white classified folk, and ADOS people also hold these values, then this means that everybody in America is either inculturated or acculturated to support white supremacy. The defense fucking rests. You, I, everybody are white supremacists in America. You cannot be anything else unless you deprogram. Unless you deprogram by default, every single person, whether black, Latino, Asian, all the rest of them who are not white, acculturate to white supremacy. And we, the American descendants of slaves, acculturate our children into the culture that's held by the dominant society. Ergo, we are all white supremacists. Every single fucking one of us. The defense rests. When you see the pathology that is extant in our ethnic group, those same pathologies are extant in every ethnic group in this country. The willingness to slit your brother's throat in competition, that's as American as apple pie. The fuck you, I got mine, that's American as it gets. Do for self, do for self, do for self. Hell, that's as American as the flag. We are born and made into white supremacists from the cradle. We don't get a say in it. We don't get a choice. And some of us never make it out. Some of us never see a way out. Because do you know how difficult it is to go against culture, the voice that tells you what to do when there's nobody telling you what to do? There it is, family. White supremacy cannot be denied. It is undeniable because we are the living evidence of white supremacy. We acculturate generation after generation after generation new black-skinned white supremacists. So why is it surprising to hear ADOS people saying, well, slavery was so long ago, we should just forget about it? Because that's what the dominant society says too. How is this person any different? Except that his skin is dark. Everything in America goes to support white supremacy, including our acculturation. If our acculturation failed to do that, the only way we can still be here is either we defeated them or they killed us off. The fact that we're still here and we haven't all been genocided is a testament to the power of white supremacy. These black fools who sit here and tell us to cut our hair, shave our face, pull our pants up. They're just parroting the dominant society. They're literally black-skinned white supremacists. And the only difference between our white fellow citizens and us is that the pathologies that come from the cultural mindset, this gangster mindset, this gangster culture that the U.S. is invested in, the pathologies that come from that, the system is set up to benefit them when they express those pathologies and to punish us when we express those pathologies. That's it, and that's fucking all. White women have babies out of wedlock? Nobody cares. They're propagating the white race. It's a good thing. Let's give them help. Let's give them aid. Let's give them resources. ADOS women have babies out of wedlock. Them welfare mongering bitches, cut them off. Cut them off. I need to go write a check to Planned Parenthood. Same behavior. One is incentivized and accepted and allowed, and the other one is made punitive, criminal, punished. That's the only difference. White man gets up one day, walks out of his house, leaves his children, leaves his wife. Well, he's mental, obviously. Like something's wrong with that guy. He needs some help. Black man can't hack it, gets up, walks out, leaves his wife, leaves his children, dips out. He's a fucking deadbeat. Niggas ain't shit anyway. Same behavior. But the system is set up to overlook the pathology of one and to criminalize the pathology of the other. But we all white supremacists. Otherwise, this shit couldn't exist the way it does. I don't need no man. I can get it all by myself. I can do whatever I want. If it's Becky, she's an icon. White girl magic. She's so powerful. She's so mighty. She should be president. Black woman says the same thing. Well, you know bitches ain't shit anyway. They ain't about nothing. Same behavior. Pathology. It's pathology in both women, mind you. Right? Nobody gets anywhere by themselves. So it's pathology. It's pathological behavior. But in Becky, it's worshipped. It's honored. It's respected. In Lakeisha, it's denigrated and looked down on. That is it, and that is all. White people, like August said, white people steal. They go out and break into stores and shit. They're surviving. Black people steal. We go into break into stores and shit. We're looting. Same behavior. One is overlooked. The system overlooks one and penalizes the other one. Same shit. Same thing. We are no different from the fellow white citizens that a lot of us like to decry. But truth be told, they're no different from us. All of us are either inculturated or acculturated to support white supremacy. You could no more deny white supremacy than a fish can deny the water it swims in. Christine, I know it. I know it. Because we are victims of white supremacy, as well as upholders of white supremacy. They're not mutually exclusive. Now, can we deprogram? Yes, we can. Absolutely, we can. ADOS is a part of that deprogramming process. The identification of us as a unique and distinct people, our own tribe, with our own heritage and our own lineage, that alone goes a huge way towards starting to deprogram from white supremacist thinking. Because as ADOS, what do we say? We say the truth of the matter, which is that this system was set up to deny us access to everything, to be citizens, and to give it to everybody else. It points out that we are the rotten fruit of the poison tree of white supremacy. The castaways, the outcasts, the throwaways, the bottom, the shoes. ADOS is the deprogramming. ADOS tells us the truth of the matter, which is that for all the pathology you see in us, that pathology comes from being a fucking American. So we get all of the pathology, but we never get any of the benefit of being an American. That's what ADOS tells us. That's what Atos is all about. We get all of the pathology. Because some of these cultural ideas as American are poisonous. But ADOS people get to eat all of the poison. We get all of the pathology and never none of the goodies, never none of the medicine. That's the point. We are both victims of it and upholders of it. And ADOS This transformational moment has the potential to change all of that. But we cannot, and I repeat, we cannot make that change until we understand that we have been acculturated to be white supremacists. Let me shout some folk out. I got people, beloved ones coming in here. Julian's in the house. My brother Tazabah's in the house. Azzy, I see you in the house, right? CRU, salute to you, esteemed brother. Sister Kendra, beloved, is in the house. Darren's in the house. Darren, coercion don't have nothing to do with it, fam. Because it's acculturation. You're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning. Acculturation is not necessarily about coercion. Our own families do this. We continue to perpetuate the same values from generation to generation. These values, some of which are beneficial, some of them are detrimental, right? Deleterious, right? But unlike everybody else in this society, Darren, they can get benefits from the parts of the culture that is beneficial. But we only get the detriments. We only get the bad parts. Exactly, Mel. We exploit because exploitation is a part of the culture. It's what we've all been taught. We got exploited, learned exploitation, and now we teach exploitation to our children. We got rolled hard by rugged individualists, adopted individualism, and now we feed it to our babies in their mother's milk. This ain't about coercion, because coercion only works in the short term. You grab people by their culture and you can change them for generations. And that is exactly what the hell happened to our ancestors and to us. And anybody who wants to deny that is operating from a place that don't make sense. Because we have the evidence. Everything that we express as ADOS is American culture, with its defects and its benefits. Except we never get any of the benefits of American culture, only the detriments. We get to eat the failure of America. But we never get to eat any of the good shit. That's the problem. That's what ADOS has come to correct. We're not going to just be the ones that everybody considers dysfunctional. We're not going to just be the ones that continue to pass on the deleterious effects of American culture without ever getting any of the benefits of the positive of American culture. Hell no. We're going to get our due. We're going to get to eat some of the good fruit that comes from being an American. Or ain't nobody gonna eat. ADOS has said if we don't get our due, don't come to us for shit. We are not your mules. No more will we carry the failure of American culture, but never any of the goodness or greatness or benefits of being an American. Hell no. Before ADOS people support this country that continues to not give us our justice claim, to not pay the debt that's due, we will watch it all burn. And it's not because we're cold-hearted, but that's American culture too. Tit for tat. It's a transaction. My vote is a trade. My support is a trade. Okay, I'll give you my support. What you gonna do for me? Oh, you're not gonna do nothing for me? Psst, sucks to be you. You want me to back immigration? What is immigrants gonna do for me? Nothing. Sucks to be you. Democrats, you want me to back a New Deal? Oh, what you gonna do for ADOS people? Oh, nothing. Shh. Cancel. ADOS has come to deprogram us from the toxic parts of this culture and to encourage us to fight for the good parts. Because there is some goodness in being an American. The concept of practicality, right? The idea of action, of optimism, those are good things. Those aren't bad. Equality, it's a good thing. But we don't ever get the benefit of those. We get all poison. Not no more, says ADOS. Not no more for Atos people. Hell no. Until we deprogram, however, like Morpheus said, if you're not one of us, you're one of them. Still plugged into the matrix, the white supremacy matrix. So at any time you could open up your mouth and start spouting off some white supremacist shit with black skin. Because you haven't unplugged. So a nerd. Acculturated into white supremacy. Wasn't coercion. Nobody beat you and made you a white supremacist. Unless you're counting your mother. Your mother whooping your ass, instilling white supremacist values in you. That's true. Some of us did get coerced into this shit. I take that back, Darren. Some of it is coercion. Got our ass kicked and told to act right so that them white folks don't get mad. That's white supremacy. It's facts. You got black folk nowadays talking about, why y'all talking about reparations? You know how divisive of a subject that is? As if we ever been united as Americans. Explain to me where the fuck this mystical unity that Americans are supposed to have had comes from. Because the only thing it seems like America's been united on for the last 400 years is keeping me and my people at the bottom. America seems to be united around that. So how in the hell is us pressing for a justice claim gonna make white people any more divided against us? They've already established for the most part that they have antipathy to our interests. So what's new? People who say that is just the modern day equivalent is, y'all gonna make them white folks mad. Please. Like I care. What are they gonna do to us they ain't already done? I brought the receipts. But you know what though, family? I got a bonus before I open up the phone. I got a bonus for you, right? There's a lot of folk who seem to be under the impression that trying things the old way that ADOS used to try it, right? And I'll describe for you what that old way is by just simply using an example. John Lewis. John Lewis is singularly the most cryingest politician in America. This man will cry at the drop of a hat. Cry at the drop of a hat. Man, that's really messed up what they're doing to those little immigrant children. Oh, Lord, it's so horrible what they... I don't know if I've ever seen the dude smile, except that one time when he was buck dancing that we caught on video. John Lewis, the cryingest dude in America. Now, crying for other people works to a certain extent. It didn't used to. This has been a shift. Don't worry, there's nothing there. I know the screen is black because I'm going to bring it up here shortly. Okay? It used to not. But there's a shift in the culture in America. Right? Because back in the day, nobody in America gave a damn about your pain. There's nothing there, fam. I know. It's coming. Right? Fuck it. I'm just going to bring it up. Y'all ain't going to keep telling me ain't nothing there. I know it's nothing there. All right, fam. But this is what I'm going to talk about. In America, Black folk displaying signs of suffering and pain don't work. And there is actually a reason behind it. I was doing some research, as is my want, and I found this great study on humanitarianism and the pornography of pain, right? And I'm going to read to you just a few things out of it because it's a pretty long thing. And I can link it to you, but unless you have a sign in to JSTOR, you won't get any access to the article itself. But here you go for those who'd like to follow it through. But Karen Haltonen talks about the growth of humanitarianism in America as an offshoot of the pornography of pain. Now, she talks here in this part about how they used to show floggings and beatings and stuff like that, and the descriptions that they would make of these things, like the sensation experienced at each lash was as though the talons of a hawk were tearing the flesh off of their bones, right? Essentially, the romanticization of pain, right? The sensationalism of pain. Right? Because as you know, previously especially in European cultures, blood sports and things like that were fairly common. You can see all the way back to the time of the Romans in the Colosseum when they had blood sports, right? And in modern day times, they used to have cockfighting, fighting roosters and dog fighting and stuff like that. So blood sports have been a traditional thing in a lot of European cultures. Bear baiting, stag hunting, shit like that, right? But as Americans started to embrace this pornographic sensationalism of pain, right? When the humanitarians in America started arguing for reforms on things, they framed it as an additional benefit that's better than indulging in the pornography of pain. In other words, the author of this study, this report, Karen Haltonen, argues that America switched from getting off primarily on pain, right, to getting off at doing humanitarian work that releases people from pain, right? Now, those of you in the chat who are saying they still love pain, S&M, trust me, I get it, right? I'm right there with you. But follow me for a second. She argues that humanitarianism is in its own way an extension of the pornography of pain. Right? White folks indulge in humanitarianism, or Americans in general indulge in humanitarianism as a relief from the sweet suffering of watching people be hurt, right? Because they get a vicarious thrill or vicarious thrill, right, from watching people suffer. So when they see pictures of the little drowning immigrant kids on the border, or the ones being locked up in the facilities and things like that, all of these liberal folk is like, oh, those poor children, we got to help them, right? Because in modern day time, it's sick to admit that you get off on seeing them suffer. So in order to get your fix, to get your kick, you then do humanitarian things, right? And you get the psychological feeling of joy and relief from relieving suffering because you've already experienced their suffering vicariously. Am I making sense? I know that's a lot. So if I need to break it down further, I will do so. But I think that I broke it down pretty good. In other words, humanitarianism for Americans is about psychological relief. It is about that final relief they feel from that sweet bit of pain that they share through vicarious suffering. Okay? Now, why is this something that I wanted to mention to you? Because humanitarianism for white folks only works when it's self-generated. In other words, they see the suffering, right? So there's that initial charge, that initial emotional charge of vicarious suffering with the person who's wounded or hurting. Okay? That's part one. Now, so in a sense, they have empathetically tied themselves to the person who is suffering. Now, previously in American culture, they could simply just get their rocks off on that, right? Ooh, that motherfucker. That's why we used to have public executions and things like that, right? Ooh, wow, that was. Did you see that? His head just pop off, you know. But that's not acceptable in these civilized times. So now their normal inclination to put themselves into that pain, to feel that pain and to share the sweet suffering has to be resolved. So then what they do is they commit acts of humanitarianism. But those acts of humanitarianism is driven from the pornography of pain. They have to have an external impetus that drives them to be humanitarian. But for ADOS folk, there has never been a vicarious sharing of ADOS suffering by any American. So, not only that, but we are the only remaining ethnic group in this country that everybody can see suffer, and it's acceptable to glorify in it. We're the only people left in this country that can suffer a trauma, a horrible act, and people not only show no empathy, no compassion, but actually are rewarded for being cold-hearted about it. Like, the harsher you are about any suffering ADOS people receive, that we face, the more likely you are to be rewarded in American society for it. So us displaying our pain to them, which was a tactic that was brought up during the civil rights movement, right? Part of the reason why they were nonviolent, right? And letting themselves get beat all in the head and dogs sicked on them and so on and so forth was because they were trying to tap into that idea of the moral conscience of America, right? Because America has displayed instances where it seems like that they will be humanitarian, that they will identify with those that suffer and work to heal their suffering. The only problem with that is that we are the only group that America can still get their fucking rocks off on our suffering. Thus, to them, it's pornography. It's another way of getting their jollies off. You don't believe me? Just go on social media after any traumatic incident that happens to ADOS people. Another one of our brothers got shot and his blood ran in the gutter in the streets, and we're mourning our asses off. The more cruel people can be, the more people co-sign them. We display our pain, our suffering. America gets its rocks off. So us being docile, meek and mild, us saying, why y'all doing us like this, is nothing but getting their respective penises and vaginas hard and wet. Both figuratively and in some cases literally. Just a little bonus fact on top of debunking all you white supremacy deniers today. Just a little bonus fact for you to take with you. America does not identify with ADOS people in any way, shape, or fashion. We are the permanent outcast, the permanent outsider. So our suffering is just another means for them to have a happy day. Trayvon gets killed. What do? They take selfies of them laying on the ground with Skittles and iced tea and mock our fucking suffering. Mike Brown gets shot down and left in the street for 4 hours to start rotting under the hot sun. What do? They call him a goddamn black brute, a gorilla, and look at the criminal records of everybody in his damn family to justify them getting their jollies off. Sandra Bland minding her own business in her car, smoking a cigarette, on her way to a new job, gets harassed and taken to jail where they find her dead. We're mourning our asses off and they won't even say her name. Our brother Christopher Dorner, mocked by the LAPD, mocked by the Department of Justice when he tried to talk about the abuses that Rampart was committing against his people right there in the LA basin, finally loses his shit and starts going and killing some motherfuckers. They burn him to death in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, but we're not supposed to uphold him as a hero. He was a monster. They pushed him to it. But good riddance to him. Meanwhile, we got terrorists like Timothy McVeigh going and bombing an entire federal building and was a hero up until the day they put the needle in his veins and took his ass out of here. Be mindful, ADOS people, that America don't want to hear from us how we suffering. I want to hear from you. I know you're hurting, fam. You can always get at me. I'm your brother and one who loves you. I know you're in pain. I know it's a hard ass slog out here, but damn it, keep it to yourself. America don't care. It's just another way for them to get their jollies off. You're just providing them pain porn. Stop retweeting those videos of our people being brutalized and murdered by the cops. America don't care. It's just providing them with porn, murder porn, pain porn. They honor their serial killers. One of the most popular shows ever on TV was about a motherfucker named Dexter. And the only thing that made him relatively good was that he was a cop who serial killed criminals. Yeah, but what if you, an ADOS black man or woman, was classified as criminal with no fucking evidence, and here comes a Dexter for you? Oh well. Code Ref, I'm going to open up the line on what you just said. It is far better for these white supremacists in America to be angry with you than for you to show them how much you're hurting. I can't say it any better than that, family. So on that note, it's time to take a call. It's time to take some calls. I went in, so it's your turn. Talk to me. 425-296-1980. I think I've clearly established with the evidence that white supremacy exists. I think I've done that today. So those of you who still want to deny white supremacy is a thing, get at me. Because I got nothing but time and opportunity. I got nothing but shade and smoke.
Keep spitting that fire, Mark.
You know I will, fam. You know I will. I'm just that brother. (425-296-1980). If I said something you disagreed with today, go ahead and talk to me. We can have a discussion, right? Just understand, unless you bring in evidence, don't waste your time. I don't want to hear a bunch of anecdotal shit and, well, it's not like that for me and this, that, and the third, and that wasn't the way I was raised. I don't give a damn if that was the way you was raised. The facts are the facts. So if you got data that refutes what I've brought to the table, then feel free to give me a call. Get at me. Otherwise, miss us with the bullshit. 425-296-1980. Fam, this is your turn to speak. This show's not my show. This is not a show. It's a broadcast, right? This is your time to dialogue. What do you think about those fools who try to tell us that white supremacy don't exist? What do you think about the fact that we have continually, from generation to generation, continued to acculturate our children under white supremacy, into white supremacy? Some of you felt some kind of way when I said that in the chat. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. And family, if I said anything today that provided you with information that was edifying, that uplifted you, please, if you got the spare coins, share them with your brother, right? I ain't begging, but it'd be nice. The floor is yours, family. The floor is yours. All of you, basically the equivalent of Holocaust deniers for black people, where y'all at? So that the family can get an object lesson in white supremacy as soon as you open your mouth. Where you at? Where are you? That's my son coming in from work, fam. Oh, got a call right here. Here we go. Calling from 603. It's your man, Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
This is Double C.
Cease. Talk to the people, fam.
What's going on?
Good? What's good with it?
You know what, man? What you mean white supremacy exists? There's no such thing. That is the most prosperous things I heard. You telling me it's not the black on black crime and black folks can get along?
Oh yeah, bro. And
Is?
don't forget, bank black, buy black.
Oh yeah, we got to bank black and buy black like Pastor Pork Chop told us.
Wait a minute. See,
I don't know.
Check this out, bro. I read an article. Somebody tweeted to me on my timeline where they said that we need to stop killing each other instead of pushing for reparations, right? So in order for us to get our due, black folk now have to become angels according to some people. Ain't that some shit?
In this world, that doesn't exist.
Right?
I'm sorry, I just had this conversation at my job. Point of fact, I had a brother now you know I work at a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
I had a guest tell me, no job, no nothing, that I need to get a real job.
Wait. Cease, pause. Before you continue, can you describe this individual for us? Set it up for us.
Well, I'd be happy to. Okay, I can't say half, but that'll be nice. He was half ADOS, presumably, and half Hispanic.
So he was half and half. Okay, got you.
Yeah, he's half and half. Oh, by the way, have you ever heard of a selfless addict?
A what?
Neither have I. A selfless addict.
A selfless addict?
Yeah. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I heard the English words, but my brain computer was like, does not compute. So no, I ain't never heard of no shit like that.
This is how he described himself. So I already knew what type of thing he was in. I was like, okay. So he was like, well, you need to get a real job and you all need to come together. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. What do you do? Well, I'm not really homeless. I'm just here because it's part of my probation. Oh, part of your probation. It's part of your requisites so you don't go back to jail? Yeah, man, you know what that's like. Actually, no, I don't. I've never been in jail in my life. Matter of fact, I never had a misdemeanor.
Damn,
and by the way, I got more than one income, by the way. This job here is just gas money.
Right.
He was like, well, you know my backstory, Mr. Black, but it was just like, wow. And you know what? Then you start talking about reparations. Right now, technically, we're not supposed to talk about anything political
Right,
while we're
of
behind
course.
the desk. So we had a little conversation outside the building, off the property, so I could speak more freely.
Right.
I said, reparations is not it's not a handout. It's what is due. If you work for a month at a job, you don't get paid, and it was in your contract to get paid. What do you call that? Well, that's just charity work. Okay. It's one of those conversations where I was like, I wish I had a cigarette and I ain't smoked in 4 years.
Right?
It's
like, I need a drink right now, okay?
Listen, I haven't had a drink in 2 weeks, man, because of
what?
I'm like, you know what? I know Johnny Walker and I are on the outs, but that's neither here nor there.
What? That's like you telling me you about to get a divorce or something. Like, that's big news, bro.
I know. Hey, man. Hey, you got to do better living, man.
I'm pleased to hear it. I'm just a little floored right now.
Hey, man, I got much more surprises later on down the week. But anyways, while we're on your broadcast, so we talk about reparations. That's like, then he was talking about, well, sometimes I go be black. I said, stop. You can't define your genetics. You can't get it through subterfuge and become something else. It's not going to happen, all right? You're half black, you're a Negro, and that's how the world sees you.
Right.
Not a half-breed, not because you got better hair, and not only that, you're also in recovery. Got to be PC. So for you to tell me to get a real job, you don't know my story or what I did to get here, because I used to be just like you in this building. Matter of fact, I used to be in your bed 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And now pull yourself up by your bootstraps crap doesn't work.
Yep. Everybody needs help.
I got this. Yeah, everybody needs help. And I told him where I live in Westfield. I said, in Westfield, all this Polish and Russian people that coming over here, and it's been going on for at least 15 years in Western Massachusetts, they get grants to open businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They get the funding. I forgot what it's called. It was called like the Polish something and the Russian something. I don't want to say National Committee because I know that's the wrong thing. But it specifically helps out Polish and Russian people to get funding for housing and everything else. Mm-hmm. And when I say housing, I'm not talking about the projects either.
No, you talking about housing, like houses.
I'm talking about houses. And I'm talking about like out, because I'm in downtown part of Westfield, which is the city part. Okay.
Yeah.
But out further, where there's trees and there's the suburbs, not the suburbs, but more like rural, like semi-rural areas.
Yeah, like the exurbs.
Yes. There we go. Coffee's getting me, man. That's the type of houses they got, and they got land.
Yep.
How do I know? Because there's a guy that has a garden that drops off fresh vegetables every day for the past few weeks this summer. Got a guy that drops off eggs at the shelter because he got a farm.
Yep.
There's a few farms where I'm at, and they get funding. So no man is an island to themselves.
Facts.
There's no such thing as a self-made person. Well, I did it all by myself. No, you didn't. You got help, because that's how humans are designed. We are not designed to be by ourselves. Now, saying that, I'm not saying that we're not comfortable. Some of us are comfortable in our own skin, but we all need somebody for the come up. Okay, when somebody's selling you CDs or food or whatever, mm-hmm. They need that business is depending on the customers.
Oh yeah. Hey, Cease, I was talking when we was earlier in the broadcast when I was talking about we do all the same shit that every other American does, except our behavior is pathologized, right? And the dominant society is incentivized or ignored, right? Their pathology ignored, mm-hmm. right? When we was kids, because I'm an Xer, and I think you're on the edge of Xer, right? Or are you a millennial?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always consider myself to be an Xer.
Okay, right. So you an Xer too, right? So when we was young, right, we watched TV shows like Leave It to Beaver and shit, right, where they had like the paper routes, you know what I'm saying, and they was out there hustling, for quarters, nickels, and dimes, and that was considered industrious when them little white boys was out there selling newspapers, shoveling snow, cutting grass, etc. Right? Okay. Yeah. Fast forward. We do that as kids, right? We're operating a business without a license. Little white kids set up a lemonade stand on their front yard, selling cups of lemonade for $1 and so on and so forth. Look at them. They're so industrious. They're so
They do that.
smart. Here, I'll take
They do
two,
that
little
here.
man. Little black kid goes out and sells bottled water and gets arrested by the cops on a hot summer day. Right? Same behaviors, man. Same fucking behaviors. Completely different responses. ADOS is arguing that shit needs to go away. Right? We need the same response for every American. We need to be put up to where every other American is, or there will not be any fucking peace from us.
I agree. And the problem with us is we have believed in meritocracy, which does not exist.
Facts.
If you just work hard, listen, this is America's motto, and this is what they won't tell you. You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Facts.
I used to think that was some cold-blooded shit. You know something? I have become more of an amoral pragmatist in the past 5 years.
Yes, sir.
And I had to be, and especially working in human services in the homeless field. You know, it's opened my eyes to a whole new world of things. Because you know what? When you're homeless, right? And I'm going to tell you the truth. My best friend when I was homeless was a lawyer.
Ain't that some shit? When I was homeless, one of my best friends was a lawyer too, a brother named William out of D.C.
Yeah. It was funny. I was next to a drunk and a lawyer were my best friends at the shelter. God bless them because one of them passed away a few years ago. And I was like, what? Person had a double master's. Other person was a truck driver, former postal worker.
Yep.
And you know what? My aunt used to say this to me when I was a kid, and I never understood it. Never understood it. She said, "Cece, I don't carry cash on me because I'm one paycheck away." Because she was a social service worker for years. I'm one paycheck away from being homeless.
Yep.
I never knew what she meant until I got into this field.
Yep.
And the reason why there's no war on homelessness, like there was a war on drugs. I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret out there, because it's not profitable.
That's right.
Because if it was profitable, I know in my little town there will be 4 shelters like there are all those pop-up clinics, those pop-up walking clinics that was coming out about 6-7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so that's why there's no war on homelessness.
Yeah.
You know,
ain't no money in it.
There's no money in it.
But family,
the money's in.
Cease, Brother Cease was talking about the cats that he knew when he was homeless. Go to L.A., go to San Fran right now, and go to those tent cities and ask your ADOS brothers and sisters who are there what they've done. Some of those people were postal workers, factory workers, lawyers, nurses, and guess what? They sleeping in tents. Meanwhile, immigrants from India who can code in Ruby are making $200,000 a year, driving up the rents and the prices of housing all over the motherfucking place. And nobody sees a problem with this except ADOS. When we talk about it, we right-wing maggots. What? It don't make no damn sense.
I was me and my mother. I'm gonna tell you a little story to the panel chat. Me and my mother went to a gas station one time, right? You know those gas stations run by one of the Middle Easterners,
right?
You know they have fried gas station and everything else in the gas station, right? And I was there to get a couple of tickets. My mother said, "Hey, let's go get some fried chicken and some catfish." I said, "Okay, cool." I know what she meant from that place. And when she told me, I said, "No, I'll make my own." And I said, right in front of the store. She said, "Why?" I said, "I'll tell you in the car." I said, "Mom, why will you patronize these guys when I know for a fact, if you ask them right now, they don't live in a black neighborhood, but they have the profit. They're in the so-called urban area, profiting off everybody else."
Yep.
And I'm telling you how dirty these guys were. You know those Arizona cans that says 99 cents on them?
Yeah.
They were charging $3.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
can't.
yeah.
And I'm
Everybody
like,
talk
and I'm
about
like,
everybody talk about the corner store. The corner
yeah.
store be taxing your ass. $1 can of lemonade, half lemonade, half iced tea. When
Yeah.
them Arnold Palmers, they charging you $2 and $3 for.
And you know what? I went in the store. I said, no, I ain't paying that. See, I know the right. Whatever the price is on that can, that's what you can't charge me for. That's what you have to charge. And here's all these ADOS idiots saying, well, that's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah,
Now, I'm
because
saying that I'm not.
remember, free enterprise, right? See, ADOS
Mhm.
people, like you said, sees everybody else cheats. This is the values that we talked about is the values everybody expresses, right? They're the values that
Mhm.
everybody are taught. But when they come to realize that at some point some of those values are bullshit, they have no problem whatsoever discarding them for two reasons. One, because everybody else is around a mindset of practicality. Damn what I feel. I want to do what works. That's number one. Number two, they're not criminalized when they break the rules, right? When white folks break the rules in business and in culture and stuff like that, they're seen as mavericks, thinking outside the box. That's quintessential white speak for somebody who's not obeying the rules, right? But ADOS people are quick to tell other ADOS people, well, man, you can't do that. They'll lock you up. Or, man, you know what I'm saying? Why you think they're going to be just letting you do whatever because you know them? You see what I'm saying? Because we still follow the rules. We still think that the acculturation that we was fed as children is the reality of the matter when it couldn't be farther from the truth.
Wait a minute, brother Mark. Brother Mark, you're telling me? Hold on. So basically, crime only affects black people. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's only crime when we do it.
That That's exactly. And my brother and I used to have this argument all the time because I was the guy that was following the rules and everything else. But every time I follow the rules, when they say nice guys shouldn't know ass, they ain't no bullshit. And and you know what? When I came to realize this, it was all BS. And mind you, this is a generational thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're raised in the church.
Yep.
Especially those Southern people, the Southern women or men raised in the church, and they came up here with that ideology. And you were indoctrinated with that ideology. Be careful! Don't let the white folks catch you.
Yep.
Don't you do it?
Oh, you hear
They
that?
might get you. They
You hear
won't.
that 50 times a day if you ADOS. You hear that 50 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Check this out. On Empire, right? I actually started watching Empire because I noticed a lot of people was watching it, right? And I got tired of being not understanding what the hell they was talking about. So I started watching Empire. You remember when Empire was when what's that character's name? The one that died at the end of this last season, the one who was Lucius half kid or whatever with that white chick, right? I forget his
Oh,
name. But at any rate, he sold um he sold Empire's user data, right, to businesses and stuff like that, right? They ousted Lucius and Cookie from ruling the company because they had betrayed the trust of their users, right? Facebook,
mm-hmm.
thank you, Kinsley. Facebook sells your data. Twitter sells your data. Google sells your data. And they're being disruptive. It's disruptive
Well,
technology. That's just how this new wave of technology is going to go. So if you build a black empire and have a data leak, there goes your empire.
mm-hmm.
Wachovia can have a data leak, and all they have to do is send out an email saying, we're sorry, we had a data leak, but we're going to fix it. And everybody still continues to give them millions of dollars. It's only
Of
crime when
course.
we do it.
Yeah. You know what? If someone's quick to call me a criminal and they're doing the exact same thing, guess who the real criminals are? And that's been going on for centuries. And I know you've talked about this. I know BGS talked about this, and a couple others. All right. And that's why now, when I see the up and coming generations, and they talk, and like the guy yesterday on BGS panel talk about this and this, and you push you up by a bullstrap, and this is what my father taught me, and I'm like, wow. You don't sound like only like a white supremacist. You sound like a white woman.
Man, look, let me tell you something, Cease. That fool in his closing statement, because BGS got a hell of a lot more patience than I do, right? That fool in his closing statement, and everything that he said in that closing statement that he made at the end of that bullshit tirade he went on for an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Everything he said was debunked in that report, What We Get Wrong About the Racial Wealth Gap. Every single thing. He was like, we spend our money frivolously. I was like, wait, that's myth number 5. We got $1.3 trillion in spending power. I'm like, wait, that's myth number 3. Like, I'm serious. It was like he had the report in front of him and was saying the opposite of everything in the damn report. And I was just I was floored.
You were floored. Well, how many times we're like, if BJ's open his panel, there's a whole bunch of wolves waiting to get in.
Oh my God, fam! But see, this is why we need to have conversations like the one we're having today, right? This is why we need to understand the reality of the matter. We are acculturated as Americans because this is America. Right? The only problem between us, or the only difference between us and the dominant society, is that the pathologies we eat, but we don't get any of the benefits of being American. Whereas they get the benefits, but don't have to eat the pathologies. And that is the problem. That is the fight, along with reparations and all of the other restorations that we need. That's the fight that we need to challenge. We can't keep letting these rabbit-ass, black-skinned white supremacists have the floor. The evidence shows that they make no sense, that they are making no fucking sense at all. And we need to stop giving them so much time, so much airtime, so much head space, because they're fools.
Well, they're not white supremacists. I call them graham crackers, personally.
You know what? I don't care what they look. If it walks like a white supremacist and it talks like a white supremacist, then what the fuck is it? Even if it's got black skin, it doesn't matter, right? Some of the greatest challenges that we face as ADOS folk is fighting. At this particular point, we haven't even gotten to a point yet where we can fight America. Because we're still fighting the black-skinned ADOS white supremacists among us. These pseudo-intellectual butter biscuit boule bootlicks and their acolytes. Most of our back and forth, our debates, isn't over anything of substance. It's just trying to get them to either fall back and shut the fuck up or to debunk their bullshit over and over. And I'm tired of it. They have no place to stand.
You're right. And I agree with you, sir.
Bro, I'm going to let you get the last word. I want to open up and see if somebody else can call in, but you know it's always a pleasure. Go ahead and speak your final piece, bro.
My final piece, man, I appreciate you, man. I'm glad you're doing this. I don't think if I said it to you before, man, we need people like you to keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you, brother.
To keep debunking the BS. Because you know what? After seeing last night, and even I'm seeing it in my own neighborhood, how many people are lost and they're eating the poison, they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yep.
And it's like, man, you don't know what you're doing. Well, my father told me, and I'm like, well, if your father told you that, I really question everything.
Yeah.
About your life. And on that note, sir, thank you very much. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, and have a good day, sir.
I will, sir. Thank you. Fam, Brother Cease is right, man. There's a lot of us out there in the sunken place. By the way, thank you, CRU, for the support and the love. I really appreciate you. Fam, we can't give these fools any place to stand anymore. Do you understand? We've got this mistaken idea that everybody's opinion means something. Like our sister Yvette says, you don't know enough, right? If you haven't grounded yourself in the data, right? If you haven't done a thorough understanding of the process of acculturation and how we are re-enslaved from generation to generation, we ain't got time for you. We don't have time to keep rebutting your bullshit. We don't. ADOS family, I do this so you don't have to do this. From now on, when you're in your little Twitter engagements or on Facebook, or you got somebody in front of your face who's talking real clever, especially if they ADOS, you just send them over here to view this video right here. I do this work to make it easy for you to be an advocate. You don't have to waste your time continuing to rebut this drivel, this rabid, hyper individualist, do for self, bootstrapper, denialist drivel. You don't have to combat it. I combat it for you. The line's open, family, 425-296-1980. I could take one more. We coming up on 6 o'clock my time, which is 7 Mountain, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern. And I know, this being Wednesday, some of y'all got to get up in the morning and do what you got to do. So I got time for one more call. If you disagree with me, here's the time for you to bring your evidence, to marshal your arguments. If you agree with me, tell me what you learned today. Right? Tell me what I might have said you didn't know. Yeah, family, I'm serious. I'm so sick of these fools. They just don't question anything. Look, as ADOS, especially as ADOS, it is important for us to question what our acculturation is, right? Because there are parts of our acculturation that is killing our people, right? Now, I think I understand some of these people when they say that there are things that we do that hurt each other. That's a fact, right? ADOS has some house cleaning to do. But that is primarily due to the influence of white supremacy, because that culture is what we're acculturated with and everyone else is inculturated with. And so our fight ultimately is to address that culturation, to deprogram and to fix or minimize or mitigate the deleterious effects. Caller from 425. This your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind? I can tell from the area code you're in my neck of the woods. Who this? It's Miss Diddy.
How you know my number by name?
It's Miss Diddy. What's good, sister? I know you on your way home from the job. Talk to the family. What's good?
Indeed. Hi, y'all. How all y'all doing? I love y'all all. Okay, so, Mr. Black?
Yes, ma'am.
This was a fire fucking broadcast. I swear I loved every minute of it. And
thank you.
I loved the whole white folks don't eat the pathology, but we eat the pathology. And you're right. Every time a little black kid tries to sell something, hot dogs, water, lemonade, they won't let us be industrious. They savor that industrialism in their own children, or, little white kids they see on the street or whatever. Yep. When we do it, it seems as if we're trying to get, I don't know, what the hell is their problem?
That we're scamming people.
And
yeah, they want to stick to the rules when it comes to little ADOS kids being industrious, but they'll let little white children, little Latino children, little Asian children sell whatever the hell they want.
And on top of that, Cece was talking about the homeless. I've been homeless a couple of times myself, and you're right, it is a booming ass industry, which is why it's never been targeted. On top of that, they'd rather see you and feel pity for you when you're in that position than actually see us for what we are.
Yeah.
And that shit was fucking crazy.
I hear you, sister. I hear you.
And I loved hearing about the study. I have to read that. I actually have to read that.
Yeah, I got it up. I got it up on the computer. So when you come through the door, I'm gonna leave it open for you. You can actually read that study. You talking about the one about the pornography of pain?
The acronyms, yeah, the pornography of pain. Yep. And it makes sense because think about it. When they were talking about the little immigrant kids in those internment camps, and they don't have no food, and they don't have enough shelter, and all that other shit. Like, every white woman I knew felt some kind of way, but didn't know nothing about why they were there or what happened or what kind. They didn't know shit. All they knew is that they were in pain and they wanted to help. They thought that Trump was being, ridiculous or whatever.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that you use immigrants as a buffer class, but you don't have to give us nothing.
But damn all that, even before
And
you
that's
even get to
convincing.
that point, Miss Denny, these same Brads and Beckys that are somehow in their feelings or feeling some sort of way about these little immigrant children live right down the street from a group home full of black kids that ain't seen their parents in years, that have been sexually assaulted, beaten in these facilities, and don't give two damns about it.
Nope. Because they don't see our humanity. They don't want to.
They
They
do not
to.
empathize with ADOS pain. America never has, and until we force them to, they never will. Until we bring, in a way, the pain to their front door, right? Until we stop being the canary in the coal mine and start turning into the owl pecking at their ass, so to speak, right? They won't see the pain that we're going through. You see what I'm saying? Because America benefits from our pain. You see what I mean? So us telling them, why y'all doing us like this? They just get off on that. That's not doing anything for us, and it's benefiting them.
And in my ignorance, I used to ask that question: Why? Why are they doing this? What? How can you not see that I'm just a little darker than you, but I'm you? How can you not? It don't matter.
They don't care.
Matter why. They just do.
They don't care.
Just no fuck.
Yeah, the zero fucks are given in the hurting of this ADOS person. As a matter of fact, family, I didn't mention it because it's really kind of disheartening, but that's also why we react differently to pain amongst ADOS folk. When other people suffer a tragedy, it unites them. But as ADOS folk, because we're hyper individualists, because we still play by the American values, we be like, damn, that's fucked up what happened to that nigga. Glad it wasn't me.
Glad it wasn't me.
You see what I'm saying? Like, better him than me.
To go to bed at night and we are thankful. We are thankful as hell. We weren't that dude. We weren't Tamir. We weren't Trayvon. We weren't Freddie
That's
Gray.
Facts. That is absolute facts, Miss Denny. You are speaking the true. We go to bed every night and be grateful Zimmerman didn't come for us today.
Exactly. Yeah. And we need to be much more than that because we are much more than that.
We are. We
so
can be.
Cut the fucking jack.
We can be, but we have to start asking some hard questions about our acculturation, first of all, and we need to deprogram, right? ADOS is here to help us to deprogram, to bring us the data to shows that your pathology isn't because black people are naturally deficient. It's because of white supremacy, because we've been denied our due. It's time for us to press home this justice claim so we can start to clean up the messes of our community like everybody else has an opportunity to.
And when you said that we are white supremacists, I mean, that shit hit me because I'm thinking like, as a child we were taught, don't make the white folks mad, don't, be good, be silent, whatever. But you're right. Acculturation, we teach it to our kids. We put fear in our children.
Yep.
So that women don't come get sick.
I read on Twitter, a brother said that he been told he was supposed to go to jail since he was like 19 years old. What kind of childhood is that? That you don't get to think about, when I grow up, I'm going to be a lawyer, or, I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to be a fisherman, or I'm going to be a hunter, or I'm going to be a surfer. No, you got to worry about at 10 years old whether you're going to grow up and be a convict. We don't even get a damn childhood.
Children.
We don't get a childhood. Because under white supremacy, right, the only thing that ADOS people are valued for is utility, labor, right? So the quicker you can get these niggas out of childhood and into doing something productive to benefit America, the better. And nobody cares about the injuries to our psyche, the injuries to our bodies, the injuries to our mentality, our hearts and minds. Nope. As long as you're of service, as long as that nigga can get, look, you 16, you can't keep laying around this motherfucker. You bet they got a job application down
You
there.
gotta go get a
Little
job.
white boy is 16 and still going outside to play during the summer. You got little black kids at 16 working grown folks' jobs.
Yep. My
That's
stepdad, my brother's father,
white
he started working
supremacy.
construction at the age of 8.
Thank you.
The age of 8. He
That's white supremacy.
It's
That is white supremacy all day. When I said, fam, and I'm not stealing your thunder, Ms. Denny, I'll let you talk a little bit more here before I hang it up, right? But when I said that we are the white supremacists, fam, I didn't mean we are direct white supremacists. I am not. There are some among us who are black-skinned white supremacists. No, what I meant is that we have been acculturated to the culture of white supremacy because we hold the values of the dominant culture. And the dominant culture is here to elevate, to benefit, to provide growth for those who are classified as white. That's what I meant. Don't be in your feeds thinking this nigga called us a bunch of white supremacists. No, but I'm saying that our acculturation is the culture of white supremacy. We are the living evidence of white supremacy. Sister, I'm gonna let you have the last word. Go ahead and tell the family whatever you want to tell them.
I only have 3 words. Cut the damn, 4. Cut the damn check.
Right? Cut the check. I feel you, sister. I'll see you in a bit. You be safe on your way to the house.
Yeah. All right.
Bye, Miss Denny. Fam, like Christine said, if you don't understand racism / white supremacy, how it works and how it operates, then everything you do understand will only serve to confuse you. If I owe thanks to Dr. Neely Fuller for nothing else, I owe him for that. Our first job as ADOS people is to understand the acculturation under which we find ourselves. Otherwise, you're going to be susceptible to fools like that Larry Elder that Code Ref just mentioned, or this Coleman Cruz Hughes character, or Candace Owens, and all the rest of these bootlicks. See, they don't understand white supremacy, so they sit there and parrot it. They literally parrot, white supremacy, white supremacy, and they don't even realize it. They don't even realize it. Love white people. You niggas ain't shit. Bootstraps. You feel me? Sound like a bunch of fucking magpies and parrots. Fam, I love you. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I will wait 1 minute. I'll give 1 minute. It is 5 minutes after the hour. I will give 1 minute because there was one other person that tried to call in. I'll give 1 more minute. If that person is still watching and wants to call in, please feel free so we can go ahead and chop. But if that person doesn't call in the next minute or so, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Family, while we wait for the last caller, I want to thank you all as usual for your love, for your support. Family, these are the conversations we need to be having. Let Mark Black have these fights for you so you don't have to have them. You don't have to waste your time anymore on debates. Caller from 346, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind? Tazaba.
What up?
What's up, fam? It's good to hear from you, bro.
Black, my man.
It's good to hear from you, bro. Talk to the people. What's on your mind?
Well, shalom to all the people out there listening right now, man.
Shalom.
You know what I mean? This has been some fire heat you've been putting out here, man.
Thank you, sir.
Fire. And I love it when you had addressed the white supremacy. Like we are in a cohesion type situation with it because if you think about it, we've been under this system so long. We are reactionary to whatever white supremacy is. So
Absolutely. Their
it's just
culture is our culture. And for us to act like, for us to deny that Tazaba does nothing but keep us enshrined in it and doesn't allow us to change it.
we don't. We don't. I just wonder when are the other black people going to catch on? Like I said, I'll be out trying to speak about Atos, speak about all the different things that go on, but it's like they understand, they comprehend, but it's like the work is not they. It's like they don't feel as enthusiastic about it. I guess they always say, "Oh, we ain't gonna get nothing," and I'll be like, "Man, if you thinking like that, we won't." You know?
True. How we do it though, Tazaba, is by persistence and practicality, if I may, right? We got the persistence part down pat. ADOS people, if nothing else, we are enduring. All right. We can endure some shit. All right. The thing is, though, is
Right.
that in a lot of ways, ADOS people need to learn to work smarter, not harder, right? We have to start to develop strategies where we might have to put a little bit more investment into, right? Like we have to be willing to invest a little bit, not lots, heaping gobs of money, right? But marketing works for a reason because if you throw money at something, it's amazing the ideas that you can get out of it that can be broadcast to a whole bunch of folk, right? But we still have
Right.
fights with people to support people who are speaking with their voice and stuff like that. I'm not saying that happens here. I'm just saying, in general, right? We need to start
Mm-hmm.
putting our resources where our mouths are because talk is cheap, right? We can go out there and talk about ADOS and people will listen. But if we go out there and we show them a video done from a brother who's a graphic artist or something like that, right? That highlights exactly. I mean, a 15-minute movie, believe it or not, can reach more people than pretty much anything you can think about, right? And Christine said that we have to deprogram ourselves to think more logical and not be so emotional, and I think that that plays a role too, right? We have to stop shying away from facts. You feel me, Tazabot? Black people,
Yeah.
we buy into the aspiration or the optimism part of the American value system more than anybody. Nobody is more irrationally, exuberantly optimistic about their odds than ADOS people are. And this is why I say that hope is a poison, right? Hope isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we've dwelled in hope for so long that it's literally killing us, fam. You feel me? So
Yeah. Yeah.
we have to get grounded in truth, in reality, in the data, and we have to stop caring what we feel about the data, right? Like I read data all the time. Like I said, I did some research today and found this study on pain porn, right? That I wanted to bring to y'all. I'm always doing research, but I try to leave my feelings out of it. I just look at the data and say, okay, this is the data. This is information I need to give to my people, right? So that we can use this
Mm-hmm.
information to make informed decisions to basically guide our path. You feel me? Right? So, Tazabat, we're going to get there, right? Make no mistake about it. We're going to get there. But what ADOS is about is a paradigm shift, right? It changes, it has to change our entire worldview. Who would have ever thought that you would have a group of people, a group of ADOS people from all different religious backgrounds, all different social economic strata, all different, sexual preferences and types coming together to do two things: to honor their ancestors in lineage and to fight for each other's interests. Who would have ever thought that we would have had something like that? But ADOS has made it real, right? So
Mm-hmm.
trust me when I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
Tazaba, keep your foot to the pedal, bruh. We've only begun to ride.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. You said you hit the nail right on the nose, man, right there. I'm just want to give a shout out to everybody watching. I didn't really have too much to say. I seem like I'm always the last person to call in, but
That's all right.
but
Last but not least, damn it, I like it.
yeah, I mean, I don't feel that. I want to give it up to Midtown Pookie, man. He be in here representing. Also, August Dreams. I gotta show her some mega love. Shalom, my sister. All love. And to CRU, Shona, you know what I mean? Colin Spencer, whoever,
Yes.
DJ, you know, Jennifer Denny, you know what I mean? Everybody is just. I just wanted to just give it up for everybody that be in here. You know what I mean? We want to lift Mark up a little bit more. I just shared your broadcast out on the tweet. So you know what I mean? I just want you to be lifted up a little bit more, man, because you know what I'm saying. You be out here doing real work, and I appreciate all that you do, bro. You know that I'll be tuned in, man. And then the critical mass that Colin Spencer just put in here, man. We are a critical mass.
That's
man.
right.
Like you said, man. I'm with this Hebrewism. You know, you've got the Christians. We got, you know what I mean, Muslims.
Yep.
Those who don't even want to serve no God. You know what I mean? Just man, like I said, I just love that we are pushing, man.
And we
I
all got
love this
each other's
camaraderie,
back.
man.
That's the beautiful thing about it. We
Man,
got
that's
each
the
other's
beautiful
back,
man.
in for a penny, in for a pound. There ain't nothing I wouldn't do for my brother Tazabai. I don't. You know what? You say Shawalam to me. What do I say back to you? Shawalam, brother. I wish you the same peace you wish to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you're my brother,
Right.
and I got your back, and you got mine, and that's what it's all about. We about honoring our ancestors and pushing home once and for all this justice claim that they lived, breathed, and died for.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's all about the ancestors, man. They paid the cost for us to be here right now, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Donnie, man, we're gonna keep on pushing, man. Keep on pushing this thing and get this thing done at all costs, whatever it costs. You know what I mean? I'm with it.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
a real soldier. I'm a Hebrew. A lot of my Hebrew brothers, they're not with this, man. A lot of my Hebrew brothers.
We'll get them there. We'll get them there because we got brothers and sisters that's gonna be going and talking to the camps and stuff like that. We'll get them there.
Mm-hmm.
We the deliverance we've been waiting for.
Even when Atos first started, with the Kamala Harris, when it first just like ADO, I had heard of ADO almost a whole year before that when Tone was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about it. And then I brought it to the brothers. The brothers they hadn't heard a little bit about it, and we did a video. And the brothers still hadn't released the video because it got kind of like touched in the video. I was advocating hard for ADOS. And then the brothers was like, man, you tripping, man. I was like, man, if all I gotta do is go vote or not vote to help my people, you can't do that. This is the battlefield, right?
Exactly.
Here. Politics, that's the battlefield. If you're a soldier, get out here on this battlefield, man. Let's battle. Stop talking about the scriptures and not living the scriptures. Live the scriptures.
Exactly. Hey, what did James say, Tazabai? You tell me you have faith, and I will show you my faith by what I do.
There it is. There it is. And like I said, man, I ain't got nothing but love for all my folks. Atos, you know what I mean? It's ADOS on mine.
All day, every day, brother. All day, every day.
But I'm with my people, man. I'm for my people, and I'm not saying like I'm just poor like that, but you know what I mean? It'll help me out a whole lot. You know what I mean? It'll help out a lot of brothers and sisters out here. We ain't got time to be playing around and just not doing nothing and just sitting around, man, reading and not making no moves, man. It says you cannot live by faith alone.
That's right.
But the words are proceeded out of my mouth.
That's right.
So the word was made flesh. Don't it say all of this?
Yep. I'm sure enough.
Man, I live these scriptures, man. I'm with this, man. This is it. This ADOS is it. This is our time now. You feel me? They had the Black Panthers. They had the movements then. I was wondering, like, where is ours at? What is
ours.
Generation gonna do?
This is ours. Right? This is our moment. This is our time.
It's our time.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready, bro.
All right,
y'all. All praises to the Most High. Shalom to all Israel. Man, peace, Mark. Peace, Mark.
Peace, my brother. Peace to you. Peace. Family, I'm finishing it there. Tazabai always coming in last because he always leave us lifted when Tazabai, man, damn. That was powerful. Family, we all we got. That's the truth. It's been the truth. It's gonna always be the truth. Right? ADOS is all we got. We got some hard questions that we need to ask, right? We need to examine our acculturation, right? See what parts is working for us, what ain't. We need to be practical. We need to pick up the scalpel of love and start excising, right? Cutting away some of the garbage, some of the mess that we've been dwelling under. You feel me? What it don't matter. It don't matter what you uphold. It don't matter who you believe in. I believe in you. And I believe in my ancestors. And I believe that this is our time. And I believe that it is time to press home this justice claim, put this baby to bed, and move forward with whatever the future got to hold for us. So if you believe that, you're in the right place. Family, I'm going to go ahead and call it. I appreciate it has been my honor as your brother and one who loves you to give you this information. And as always, I want to wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.